Hello, everybody, and welcome to your favorite show each and every Monday night. We're talking about wrestling and racing, brought to you by Greenville Sports Media, Ardensburg and Grill in Central South Carolina, Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina, Upstate Physical Therapy in Anderson, South Carolina, Pepsi Cola, and many other sponsors. Go to GreenvilleSportsMedia.com and you can find out a list of everybody, including Hyundai of Anderson. Use code HOA24 and you too can save money. Well, folks, let's bring them in. We got a busy night. We got to go over WrestleMania, and we also got to do a quick NASCAR update. So let's bring him in. Ref Brandon, how we doing, brother?
I am fantastic, Jay. How you doing?
Doing great. Tell us real quick what you did this weekend.
I had two shows this weekend. Saturday was the usual second Saturday at SWA Wrestling, and then Sunday afternoon I was at Scrappy Championship Wrestling, which is in Royston, Georgia. So I had a show Saturday night and a show Sunday afternoon.
All right, folks, and make sure you go out and check out Ref Brandon. He is all over the Georgia area for sure, but he also dabbles in different areas of South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, I'm sure. So go out and support your local independent wrestler. Well, Ref Brandon, give us a quick update on NASCAR this weekend. They was at Bristol.
Yeah, we'll make it short and sweet. We can go more detailed with it next Monday if you want, because there's no race this weekend. But Kyle Larson won. He led 411 of the 500 laps. Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, and Ryan Blaney was the top five.
All right, folks, there you go. There's our NASCAR report for this week. And like I said, we'll be a little bit more defined about it next week as we go into WrestleMania weekend. And Ref, we've only got a certain amount of certain amount of things that are out there, and we're going to go through as much of this as we can and get your thoughts on the ones that we have. So we're going to start off with a match that's got the Rey Mysterio Jr. taking on El Americano.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be a really, really, really good match. And I don't know if they're going to, give us any more matches, because last I saw there was going to be 7 on Saturday and 7 on Sunday. So we may have the complete card, Jay. But this is going to be a really good match because it's basically going to be like a luchador / cruiserweight match. So these two guys will be all over the place. But I expect Rey Mysterio to get the win.
All right. Then we got Jade Cargill against Naomi. And this is a match that's got a lot of interesting angles to it. What's your thoughts on this one?
I'd like to see Naomi pick up the win, but I think Jade Cargill wins this one.
All right. Next one that we're going to talk about is Jake Paul versus AJ Styles. This is actually one that I'm really interested in. I think AJ pulls out the win at this. I think Logan takes the loss. I think they know AJ is getting towards the end of his career, and I think he needs one more WrestleMania win, whereas Logan Paul has plenty of time.
I think Logan Paul wins this match.
Oh, okay. Think he's going to pull it out, huh?
Yeah.
All right, and then we go to the 4-way for the IC Championship. Dominic Mysterio, and then we also got oh man, I forgot his name.
This is a Sunday match. You got Braun Breaker, Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, Penta's the name. I was wanting to call him Phoenix, but I knew it wasn't Phoenix. So in this particular match, I think Braun Breaker either loses to Penta or he will retain his title.
I'm hoping that Dominic wins the match, but I have a feeling Braun Breaker walks out still champion.
Another match that we are hearing that's probably going to be added is the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which is, of course, going to be superstars that are not actually in matches per se, singles-wise. This is always just a give me type thing. I think if Randy Orton, Solo Sikoa don't get put in a match together, which I do believe is going to happen, I think Solo wins if he doesn't get Orton, and Orton ends up, fighting somebody else.
Yeah, this match, when they first started it, it started out as a big thing, but the guys that have won it over the years have done nothing afterwards, so the match pretty much means nothing. So I'll be surprised if they add it, but if they do add it, I don't really know that it matters who wins the match, but maybe they'll give it to The Miz, because The Miz is fixing to break the Undertaker's record for most consecutive years on the active roster, so he needs something, so give it to The Miz.
Okay. Now, something that a lot of people have been throwing my way is why not give it to Braun Strowman? They think that Strowman, after losing to Jacob Fatu and others, that maybe he deserves it for the simple fact it's just because he is a big man, and who's going to throw him out? Who is left really to throw him out? And the only one I could come up with would be Sikoa. So that this could actually happen on SmackDown this week. We're not exactly sure. Last I heard, it was going to be added to WrestleMania Day 1, but I could be wrong on that one. All right, next up, we've got a possible match for Randy Orton. I brought up Solo. A lot of people have also brought up Drew McIntyre. And then also, I've heard about a surprise former WWE star returning in Aleister Black. Who do you want to see take on Orton, and who do you think makes the match better, Ref?
I want it to be Nick Aldis. I don't know why it wouldn't be. You planted the seeds with him, RKO, and Nick Aldis. Nick is 38 years old. He's nowhere near retired. He has said multiple times he wants to wrestle there one day, and I can't think of a better spot to debut for the company than at WrestleMania. But if it's not going to be him, I'd rather it be, if you give me a choice, I'd rather it be Rusev. I'd pick Rusev over Aleister Black, over Solo Sikoa, over Brock Lesnar, over anybody. I'd pick Rusev. But I want it to be Nick Aldis.
Well, see, the thing with Nick Aldis, I don't think Aldis will actually fight him, but I think Aldis could get involved with whoever he is in the ring with and become like the heel GM. You know what I'm saying? And kind of like if Aleister Black decides to create his own little group at WWE, Aldis helps him get the group together. You know what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm going with that?
Yeah, but I think Aleister Black is just a terrible wrestler, so I don't care what faction he's got. If he's in it, it sucks.
Okay.
I just don't like him.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to now we're starting to get into the big matches. So we're from this point on, we're going to spend a little more time in depth on these matches. We got LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. This is going to be a crazy match. What's your thoughts, Ref? Give me Jacob Fatu beating LA Knight.
Yes, give me Jacob Fatu as well. I agree with you, and I don't know why you wouldn't give him the belt, because out of that whole family right now, he's been putting on the best matches on a consistent, regular basis, and LA Knight's had that title for a while now, so I think it's time to give it to somebody else.
All right. Well, there you heard it, folks. We both are agreeing on Jacob Fatu. Next, we go to another match that I called a long time ago. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the Women's Championship. Give me Charlotte Flair. She's the queen. She's been gone. They got to put a title on her. Tiffany's held it for a little while. Has been doing decent, but I just think that they're going to put it on Charlotte because I think they're trying to prime her to outduel Cena to being the world champion the most.
Yeah, I hate it because, Charlotte is an okay wrestler. She's not great. She doesn't have anywhere close to the talent her daddy had. She just gets pushed because she's Ric Flair's daughter. The one difference between Rick and Charlotte was that Ric Flair could wrestle a ghost and it'd be a 5-star match. Charlotte can't do that. If her opponent's good, it's a good match. If her opponent sucks, the match sucks. Charlotte just doesn't have the ability to make her opponent look good like her daddy did, but she's decent. The problem with Charlotte is, and the reason why everybody hates Charlotte, is because if you go back to 2015, Batista had been gone for a while, and apparently, supposedly, he went broke, and he came back, and he immediately wins the Rumble and goes to main event WrestleMania, and everybody hated him because of that. It's kind of that way with Charlotte. She's off all that time because she's injured, and then she comes back and don't earn no spot, and she immediately wins the Rumble. So, no matter what they do with her, most of the audience is going to hate her because they feel like she's getting spots that she doesn't earn just because she's Ric Flair's daughter. But I do think she wins this match. But, the key thing about this match is people are trying to figure out, do her and Tiffany really hate each other, or are they just portraying this to make you want to watch this match? Because if they really hate each other, this match might be a complete flop. But if it's just, all just to get your attention, it may be a 5-star match. But Tiffany should win the match, but Charlotte wins the match.
All right, there you heard it. I think Charlotte wins the match because I just think Charlotte's she's the GOAT in women's wrestling right now. I know some people hate her. I understand. I get what you're saying. If it's a bad opponent, she kind of goes down to it. But at the same time, I've just seen too many great matches with Charlotte in it to call her not the best. I think Mercedes Moné doesn't hold a finger to her. Neither does Becky Lynch. Now, there's a couple ladies that in the future, Tiffany could be one of them that could surpass her. I don't know. I'm just a big Charlotte fan. And it has nothing to do with my love for Ric Flair. Because at first I did not like Charlotte. I didn't think when she first came into NXT she was any good. Of course, I had to get it through my head that NXT was a developmental area. So she had to earn her wings. But I think she's more than done that. And she always gives a great WrestleMania match. I've never seen a bad match at WrestleMania for Charlotte. And that's where I think this match goes. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we go into the next women's title that is now the three-way, which we called this a couple weeks back. And me and Ref both said it was going to happen, and it has. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair. Ref, tell me who you got and why.
I'm going to go with Bianca Belair. That's just strictly 100% a guess because I could see any of the three winning the match, but I honestly think that Io Sky was put into this match so that Bianca Belair wins the belt without having to pin Rhea Ripley. That way Rhea doesn't look weak by taking the pin. I think that's Io's only reason being in this match. I think Bianca wins.
All right. Give me Rhea Ripley in this match. I think she gets the title and wins it back. And I think the feud between her and Bianca Belair begins. And I think that there's going to be a breakup in Io Sky and her bestie, who hasn't got a push since the IC title series. I think something's going to happen there. Maybe she causes Io to get pinned by Rhea. That's just what my thoughts is on that.
That's why I think Io's main point of being in this match is to, whether who wins between Bianca and Rhea, they're going to pin Io Sky.
Yep. I agree. We're both on the same plate there. It's just different people that we've picked, but we both think Io Sky is the one that's going to get the loss.
Yeah.
All right. Now we get into the three big main event matches as of right now. The first one is Gunther versus Jey Uso. All right, folks. I have been clear to the point that Jey Uso is going to win the world title and that Gunther is going to be moved into a world title status, maybe to go get Cena if Cena somehow passes Cody Rhodes, or somehow I think Gunther goes after the other titles, whoever holds that belt. Well, I got a little information this week. Last week, if y'all remember, Jimmy Uso got destroyed by Gunther, and Jey had to sit and watch. Look, and I'm not calling this because I still want Jey to win, but look for Jimmy Uso to maybe cause Jey to lose his chance at being world champion. Your thoughts, Ref?
Well, ever since you and I first mentioned this match, ever how long ago it was, 6-7 weeks ago, I said I think Gunther wins, and nothing has changed my mind. I still think Gunther wins. I personally don't think Jey Uso is a world champion. That's my opinion. I feel like he's only so hot right now because of the whole thing, but it might last a year tops, and then when it fades, Jay's off in the sunset. And I don't think you give somebody a world title just because they got one little catchphrase. So I don't think Jey is world title material, so I think Gunther wins the match.
But Ref, a lot of people thought the same way of John Cena when he first came into WWE, him and his thugonomics.
Well, yeah, but the difference was, Cena was, new and people just really just guessed. Jay's been around 15 years. If he was world champion, he'd had it a long time ago.
Well, we both know how Vince McMahon is and why he held a lot of guys down that if you wasn't a certain size, it was very hard for you to become a world champion. Ask Daniel Bryan about that.
That's right.
All right, now we're down to the final two matches. We're going to go first to the triple threat match, a match that pits the wise man as a middle guy as Roman Reigns goes against CM Punk, goes against Seth Rollins. This match, I tell you, I think Seth Rollins wins this match, and I'm going to explain why. I think that the wise man is going to be conflicted. Reigns and Punk do something to each other. One does something to the other, causes the match to end up being a win for Seth Rollins, which causes a huge feud between Punk and Reigns, which is something that I think that they're trying to lean to going against at SummerSlam. It makes sense to start building that story now at WrestleMania to get SummerSlam's ticket sales up, having Punk versus Roman Reigns. So give me Seth Rollins getting the win and then him taking on the winner of Uso versus Gunther.
I'm going to pick CM Punk in this match, and the only reason I'm going to pick CM Punk, because God knows I despise CM Punk, is because, CM Punk has whined and moaned and grown to complain forever about, I want to be the WrestleMania main event, I want to be the WrestleMania main event. Well, they've actually announced this match is going to be the night one main event, and there's no title on the line. So I think this way CM Punk wins, he gets his WrestleMania moment, he wins the main event. This way, if he never wins the championship again, he can say, hey, I main event WrestleMania and I won. So for that reason, give me CM Punk.
All right, folks, there you heard it. Ref Brown's got CM Punk. I got Seth Rollins. Neither one of us got Roman Reigns, who until last year owned WrestleMania for, 7 years almost?
Yeah.
So there you go. It's like 2 years in a row, Reigns will not be a WrestleMania winner. That's unbelievable. Neither one of us got him. All right. Next thing is our final match of the night. Now, folks, that we do understand we will probably both have an amendment to this. We'll probably do shorts, both of us, on our own podcast things, talking about any matches that might be added tonight or on Thursday, because right now we got 5 matches on each night, which means there's only 2 more that can be added to each one. We know Randy Orton's going to get a match. We know that possibly the Andre the Giant tournament will be put on one, if not put on SmackDown, which means there's 3 more spots open. So let's go to it, Ref. We got John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Who do you have and why?
I think Cody Rhodes wins this match. The only reason I'm conflicted is because I'm convinced Gunther wins. I've said that since January when Jey Uso won the Rumble, and it's hard for me to believe that they'd have a WrestleMania where neither one of the world titles changes hands. So I'm more prone to believe this one would before I would the Gunther match, but I still think Cody Rhodes wins the match because I don't really see a purpose and a reason to give Cena the championship. So for that reason, I'll pick Cody Rhodes.
All right. Well, I've been telling you that I've always been that I think Cody doesn't lose his story to John Cena. But, Ref, starting to see some different things, starting to hear some different things. Give me John Cena to win this title. I do not want to even mention this because just like with you, when there's somebody that you hate, like you don't like Charlotte, but you know that she's probably going to win it. It's just I just do not like John Cena. Never been a fan. Never going to be a fan. But I think they as much as I don't think they should let Cena be the one to beat Ric Flair's title reigns, which Flair actually has 22, folks, not 16. He's just listed as 16. He actually had 22. But anyway, I think they're going to let Cena have this, and how they get the title off of him. That could be Gunther. That's what I was telling you earlier. Gunther, losing to Jay, and then win the title off of Cena possibly, or off of Cody Rhodes. But God, I really don't know, Ref, man. This match is just I've heard so many things in the last 2 days, just the last 2 days from people that are close to the situation. But you know how WWE is when on their main events, everything's out there. They're not going to tell you what's going to really happen.
No, so we're both just guessing. But real quick, a couple of matches that I saw this morning that were listed. We ain't really got to break them down because I don't know if anybody cares about them. But I did see that on night one, we're going to have the War Raiders versus the New Day for the tag team championships.
Yeah, let's go over that. Let's go over that one.
Give me the War Raiders.
Okay. I would like to make this idea, because there's a certain tag team that's wanting to retire in WWE this next year, and they've been showing up on the NXT, and they've already once before was added to a WrestleMania match and won the titles. Why not make it a triple threat? Make the host of WrestleMania say this now is a triple threat match, and out come the Hardys.
I'd be okay with that because, Matt's 50 and Jeff's 47, so they can't have many years left. So if that happens, I think the Hardy Boys would win. But as it stands right now, just these two tag teams, give me the War Raiders. I don't really see a reason why the New Day needs another tag team title run. So give me the War Raiders. And then on night two, we've got Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, who are a makeshift tag team. So give me Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And then also night two, we have Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a street fight. In that match, give me Drew McIntyre.
All right. Well, I tell you what, give me Drew McIntyre in that match. I think Damian might have bit off a little more than he's chewed, and Drew has lost 2 WrestleManias in a row. It's about time they give him a win back. And the other match, give me Bayley and Tyra winning the match, because the women's tag titles have always been makeshift ladies put together.
That's the one thing I hate about. I mean, I like the fact that they have the women's tag team championships, but it's like they always have a main tag team, which right now is Liv and Raquel, and then the rest of them are just tag teams thrown together. I don't really see the reason of having the women's tag team titles if you're not going to have women's tag team wrestling. It doesn't make any sense.
And the only reason why I say that is this is where I'm looking at. If they're going to build a good storyline, especially after the match we just saw this past week between Valkyria and Bayley, why not put the titles on them? And then somehow Bayley's out there trying to help Valkyria from have outside interference, but ends up costing her IC title. Yet they're still the tag champions, but then we build a rift between them because, you know what I'm saying? Valkyria would still be the IC champion, but instead now she's just the tag champ.
Yeah.
And she could be saying Bayley was jealous because of her holding 2 titles.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We've seen that storyline before, and who better to cause havoc than Liv Morgan? Morgan and Raquel lose the titles. Morgan breaks off from Raquel, wins the IC championship because, Liv Morgan does get a lot of action from the fans. She has great promos. She's really come a long way from when she first came there and was part of the Riot Squad. She is a good moneymaker, and I think they know that. And I think the best way to do it would be taking the tag titles off of Liv and Raquel, because Raquel Rodriguez, I'm sure she's a sweet lady, but she's like a dead horse. It's just not.
Yeah, she reminds me of the female version of Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross has all the talent in the world, but it's like when he walks through the curtain, it's like a balloon being popped. It's just you just feel the charisma leave the building. Well, that's kind of the way it is with Raquel Rodriguez. She looks good, has a good look. She's not a bad wrestler. It's just nobody cares about her.
Yep, and I think Liv gets the heat, and she gets enough people that will want to watch her be at an arena. You know what I'm saying? Have her get beat up, but yet somehow save herself. She's been a great world champion. She also won the thing over in overseas in Egypt. Am I correct on that? No, Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry, Saudi Arabia. So I think that you put Bailey and Valkyria as the champs. Either they survive or they kill each other, and you take the IC title off of Valkyrie because of Bailey, which creates more friction, and then you have time to build a couple tag teams together to maybe take the titles from them. That's just my thought.
Yeah, because they've got enough of women on the roster to have a decent sized women's tag team division. But why they don't, I don't know. But it just don't make sense to have the women's tag team belts and then you don't have any women's tag team wrestlers.
Exactly. All right, Ref. Well, wow, we actually got through this faster than I thought we would.
Yeah, we did good.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about what happened this weekend at Bristol, since we got a few minutes.
Well, a lot of people are, wanting it to be changed because, people are prisoners of the moment and nobody likes a driver to dominate. Nobody likes a team to dominate unless it's your team. Well, NASCAR the same way. If you're not a Larson fan, you don't want to see that guy lead 411 of 500 laps. But he also won the Xfinity race on Saturday, and he led 273 of 400. So he dominated both days. And unless that's your driver, you don't want to see that. But with Bristol, though, it's not really a snapshot of the moment. Ever since 2011, when the Speedway Motorsports, the track owners, decided to make the track wider and put a second groove, and ever since they've done that, the Bristol racing just has not been near as good. You would think the extra groove makes it better, but it hasn't, and that's why they tried the dirt track there the last 3 years, because the fan fall off was, blatantly obvious on TV. So they tried to be different, put dirt down, and the fans still didn't care. So now they've gone back to the asphalt, and the fans still don't care. And I don't really know, the solution, because for some reason it's gotten worse now, because this new Gen 7 car is just not good on short tracks. The Richmond races aren't good anymore. The Martinsville races aren't good anymore. So you add in the second groove, which hurt the racing, and now you have this new race car, which is not good on short tracks. And, Bristol used to be one of the best tracks on the circuit, and now it's just nobody cares anymore. And out of all the 9 races so far this year, the attendance yesterday was the worst. I mean, I seen last week that it was still nowhere near a sellout, and Bristol used to sell out the year before. So I don't know what a solution could be or should be, but they've got to find one, because they have destroyed Bristol. It used to be some fine racing, and now it's just not. Yesterday they had one caution the whole race, and it used to be Bristol, man, you couldn't go.
Sorry, folks. Ref, somehow we lost contact with him. It's like the second week in a row we've had that issue. So just stick with me. I think he's coming back on.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I told him the second week in a row we've had a drop off.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I lost you at, but
you was talking about it. 2 years in a row, and kind of went. We just lost the last 5 seconds there.
Okay, well, I was saying yesterday's race was 2 hours and 45 minutes. They only had one caution outside of stage breaks. And used to be at Bristol, man, you couldn't run
25. Yeah, 25 wrecks.
And yesterday they had one caution for an accident the whole race, because it was just the whole race was follow the leader, follow the leader, follow the leader. And Bristol used to never be that way. So I don't know what they can do to find a solution. But if they don't find one quick, they might as well take Bristol off the schedule, because it's just not fun to watch. And I know this new race car is not good on short tracks. I know that. But the Xfinity race Saturday, those cars are different. And that race wasn't any good. It was better than yesterday, but it still wasn't good. So for some reason, Bristol the last decade has just completely fallen off. And I don't know what they can do, but they got to do something.
All right. Well, folks, we want to thank you for listening in to Rasslin Racing this week. But before we do anything, Ref, where are we going to be at this weekend?
Well, this weekend, believe it or not, I don't have a show. I had one, and then they decided, since it's WrestleMania Saturday, that most wrestling fans are probably going to want to watch WrestleMania, so we didn't want to either hinder them from watching it or, have a show with nobody in the crowd because they're watching WrestleMania. So they canceled the show, so I get to watch WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 live because I have no show this weekend.
Well, there you heard it, folks. And I might be going live from Beef and Rib in Westminster, or I could be going live from Ardensburg Grill and Central for WrestleMania on Saturday, not for Sunday, but for Saturday. So I will be letting people know about that. And hopefully, if I'm up in Westminster, maybe Ref can come by and make a brief glimpse and tell everybody hello while he eats a meat and three. So we'll hopefully get to see Ref, and if not, then we'll be talking about it on Monday. But folks, thank you for listening, watching, and supporting our podcast, Rasslin and Racin. We want to thank Greenville Sports Media for allowing us to be on your platform. Also, we want to thank Ardensburg Grill in Central South Carolina, Beef and Rib, Hyundai of Anderson. Use code HOA24, and you get a good deal. Make sure you see Herschel and the gang down there. Also, we want to thank Upstate Physical Therapy, Pepsi Cola, and all of our sponsors on greenvillesportsmedia.com. Make sure you go by, support them. They support us, and we support you with the information we have, with our thoughts on everything. Make sure you go by and see Ref Brandon on his YouTube page every single day. It's at Ref Brandon and the Todd Family. That's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube. Go by, support him. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like. It helps the algorithms. It helps us to get our stuff out a lot further, and we just appreciate you for doing that. Ref, anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's it. We'll recap it all next week.
All right, folks, there you heard it from the man, the myth, the legend, Ref Brandon. This is Jay. This has been Rasslin' and Racin'. Thanks for joining us. Man, my phone was on